Welcome to Crime Story with Camila. Today we talk about a chilling story of sacrilege in the sanctuary, the murder of a nun by a Catholic priest. Stay tuned as we delve in. Deep within the sacred halls of a Catholic church, where faith and devotion should thrive, a dark secret unraveled. A priest, entrusted with the spiritual guidance of his flock, betrayed the very core of his calling. This is the story of Sister Maria and the tragic chain of events that led to her untimely death. A horrifying tale of power, manipulation, and murder. At just 34 years old, Sister Maria had already touched countless lives. Born into a devout family, she felt her calling to serve God at a young age. Her path led her to the convent, where she dedicated her life to prayer, teaching, and acts of kindness. Her presence was like a light in the darkest of times, earning her respect and admiration from the townsfolk. Yet, behind her unwavering faith lay a quiet strength that would soon come to define her legacy. To Sister Maria, her vows were more than a commitment. They were her identity. Her devotion to God and her parishioners was unshakable. But her journey of service was about to intersect with a force she could not have foreseen, and her faith would be tested in unimaginable ways. St. Benedict's Church had always been a place of unity and hope, but the arrival of Father Thomas brought a sense of renewed energy. With his commanding presence, eloquent sermons, and charismatic charm, he quickly became a beloved figure in the community. Father Thomas had transferred from a larger diocese, where his skills as an orator had earned him recognition. To the parishioners, he was a shepherd who could guide them closer to God. But for the staff and those working closely with him, a different picture began to emerge. Soon after his arrival, Father Thomas began making changes to the parish's operations. He reorganized duties, often imposing on Sister Maria to handle tasks beyond her role. Despite her initial willingness to support his vision, she grew uncomfortable with his increasingly domineering behavior. Reports from parish staff later revealed a pattern. Father Thomas often used his authority to pressure others, including Sister Maria, into compliance. Though subtle at first, his true nature began to surface, a man determined to maintain control, even at the expense of those around him. While Father Thomas commanded respect from the congregation, Sister Maria stood firm in her commitment to honesty and justice. The two were destined to clash, setting the stage for a power struggle that would shake the foundation of the church and end in tragedy. The arrival of Father Thomas marked the beginning of subtle but mounting tensions within St. Benedict's Church. His vision for the parish clashed with Sister Maria's steadfast devotion to her principles. While others yielded to his authority, Sister Maria's quiet defiance became a source of frustration for the priest. One of the first major clashes occurred when Father Thomas ordered Sister Maria to assist with projects she deemed unnecessary and wasteful. His insistence on extravagant expenditures for church events directly contradicted her belief in using funds for the needy. "We are here to serve the people, not to impress them," she reportedly told him during one of their heated exchanges. Her refusal to compromise ignited a simmering animosity in Father Thomas. Father Thomas began isolating Sister Maria, undermining her authority, and spreading rumors to diminish her standing among the parish staff. Despite his efforts, Sister Maria's unwavering dedication to her faith and community won the continued support of those who truly knew her. But the power struggle did not end there. Father Thomas soon escalated his demands, instructing Sister Maria to turn a blind eye to questionable financial practices within the parish. Sister Maria's refusal to comply was unyielding. She quietly documented the discrepancies and prepared to report them to the diocese. Her decision to stand against him placed her in grave danger. Those close to the church recalled seeing signs of increasing hostility. Father Thomas's sermons grew more intense, and his interactions with Sister Maria turned colder by the day. What had begun as a professional disagreement had now spiraled into a deeply personal conflict. The tension between them was palpable, but Sister Maria's courage never wavered. She confided in a close friend, expressing her fears, but insisting that her faith would guide her through the trials ahead. She could not have known that her defiance would come at the ultimate cost. The conflict between Sister Maria and Father Thomas reached a boiling point. What had begun as professional disagreements had escalated into a full-blown battle of principles, with Sister Maria standing firm against corruption and manipulation. Father Thomas, now consumed by anger and paranoia, viewed her defiance as a direct threat to his authority and his secrets. During their last confrontation, Sister Maria confronted Father Thomas about the financial irregularities she had discovered. Calm but resolute, she informed him that she could no longer remain silent and would be reporting her findings to the diocese. Witnesses recalled hearing raised voices from the office that evening. "You're tearing this church apart," Father Thomas reportedly shouted, his anger barely contained. Sister Maria's reply was simple but cutting. "The truth cannot destroy what is built on faith." This was the moment Father Thomas made his decision. Fueled by desperation and fear of exposure, he began to plot a heinous act that would forever tarnish the sanctity of St. Benedict's Church. That fateful night, the atmosphere was heavy with foreboding. The parish was quiet, save for the sound of rain and the distant rumble of thunder. Sister Maria, as was her custom, remained in the sanctuary long after evening prayers, seeking solace in her faith. Father Thomas, meanwhile, lingered in the shadows, his mind consumed by a terrible resolve. It was here, in the sacred space of the sanctuary, that the final confrontation occurred. Details of their exchange remained shrouded in mystery, but investigators later pieced together the tragic sequence of events. When Sister Maria refused to back down once more, Father Thomas's rage boiled over. In a moment of unthinkable violence, he struck her with a ceremonial candlestick, a weapon he likely never intended to wield for such a purpose. The next morning, Sister Maria's lifeless body was discovered by a fellow nun, lying near the altar she had so lovingly tended. The scene was one of horror, with the sacred hall transformed into a grim crime scene. The town was plunged into mourning. A pillar of faith and integrity had been silenced, and the sanctuary of St. Benedict's was forever stained by the betrayal of one of its own. It was a night like no other. Violent storms raged through the small town, mirroring the turmoil brewing within St. Benedict's Church. While the parish slept, Sister Maria remained in the sanctuary, seeking solace and strength in prayer. She had resolved to act on her principles, unaware that danger was closing in. For Father Thomas, the storm outside was nothing compared to the tempest within. Desperation and fear of exposure had consumed him. In his eyes, Sister Maria's defiance threatened not only his authority, but his very future. He believed there was only one way to silence her, and that was to eliminate her. Father Thomas entered the sanctuary under the cover of darkness, his footsteps muffled by the storm. The sacred space that once symbolized peace and faith was about to become the setting for a heinous act of violence. Accounts pieced together from forensic evidence and witness statements reveal that a confrontation occurred. Sister Maria, ever steadfast in her faith, stood her ground, refusing to back down from her principles. Her defiance only fueled Father Thomas's rage. In a fit of uncontrolled fury, Father Thomas struck Sister Maria. The blow was swift and merciless, silencing her forever. The sanctuary was plunged into darkness as the candles extinguished, leaving only the sound of the storm outside. By the time the crime was discovered, it was too late. The vibrant and compassionate Sister Maria, a beacon of light for her community, had been taken from the world in a moment of unspeakable brutality. Shockwaves rippled through the town as news of the murder spread. How could such a horrific act occur within the sacred walls of their beloved church? The community, once united in faith, was now fractured by tragedy and betrayal. The murder of Sister Maria shattered the peaceful facade of St. Benedict's Church. As the news spread, the town was plunged into a state of disbelief and mourning. For many, the church had been a sanctuary, a place of hope, but now it was a crime scene. Law enforcement quickly began piecing together the events of the tragic night. The sanctuary, once a symbol of divine peace, now bore the grim marks of violence. Forensic evidence and the accounts of staff and parishioners led investigators to a shocking conclusion. Father Thomas, the church's beloved priest, was the prime suspect. Father Thomas was taken into custody within hours of the discovery. His initial demeanor was one of calm denial, but under questioning, cracks began to appear in his story. Evidence mounted against him. Traces of Sister Maria's blood on his clothing and conflicting alibis sealed his fate. The community was left reeling. Sister Maria had been a cornerstone of their faith and compassion, and the revelation that her life was taken by someone she worked alongside was too much to bear. Vigils were held in her memory, as parishioners sought solace in their shared grief. The trial of Father Thomas became a national spectacle, drawing attention to the darker undercurrents within the church. Prosecutors painted a chilling picture of a man driven by fear and anger, willing to commit the ultimate betrayal to protect his secrets. Despite his initial pleas of innocence, the overwhelming evidence left no room for doubt. After weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury returned a verdict: guilty of murder in the first degree. Father Thomas was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. While justice was served, the scars left by his actions would linger for years to come. Sister Maria's story is a reminder of the power of conviction and the dangers of unchecked authority. Though her life was cut short, her unwavering commitment to truth and justice left an indelible mark on all who knew her. Though Sister Maria's life was tragically cut short, her unwavering faith and selflessness left an indelible mark on the hearts of those who knew her. Her legacy became a beacon of hope, inspiring change and renewal within the parish and beyond. Inspired by her example, the community rallied together to honor her memory by continuing her work. Programs for the poor, educational initiatives, and outreach efforts were expanded, ensuring that Sister Maria's vision of compassion lived on. The annual Sister Maria Day of Service became a cherished tradition. Each year, the parish and the town united to embody the values she stood for: kindness, justice, and selfless love. The church also established a memorial garden, a tranquil space where parishioners could reflect on her life and find solace. The statue of Sister Maria, with her serene smile and hands clasped in prayer, became a symbol of resilience and faith. Stories of Sister Maria's impact poured in from all corners of the community. A young girl recounted how Sister Maria had helped her family find shelter during a difficult time. An elderly parishioner remembered her as a guiding light during moments of despair. Beyond the parish, Sister Maria's story sparked a broader conversation about accountability and integrity within religious institutions. Her courage in standing up for what was right became a case study in moral leadership. Her influence extended even to the next generation of clergy and lay people. Many young women, inspired by her life, chose to follow in her footsteps, dedicating themselves to lives of service and faith. Though she is no longer with us, Sister Maria's spirit continues to guide and uplift those she left behind. Her life serves as a powerful reminder that even in the face of darkness, light can prevail. Sister Maria's legacy is one of hope, resilience, and unwavering faith, a testament to the profound impact one life can have on an entire community.
Thanks for watching. For more interesting videos, please subscribe.